Hey everybody, welcome back to Brent Builds Online. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my central purpose in creating this YouTube channel and sort of my mission statement. And I think you guys are going to be pretty intrigued by this because I think a lot of you, when you hear my mission statement, are going to think, yeah, that's what I also want. And my hope is that you will follow along on the journey as I work to getting to this point. But I wanted to share my vision with you guys, and maybe some of you have even had the same vision of what you want for yourselves. But with the rise of AI and all this new technology, automation, software, and stuff like that, what I'm looking for is the holy grail of the intersection of AI and income, using AI to create profit streams, to generate income for myself, truly passive income, where I can basically build a system, wind it up, set it free, and then it would make money for me without me having to do really hardly anything at all. Maybe a little bit of oversight, but the AI and the agents and everything would handle all of the money making. I asked actually ChatGPT to help me define a mission statement, and I'm going to put that in the description of this video. But what it came up with was, which I really love this, is our mission is to uncover the ultimate AI powered profit generation tool. Through our YouTube channel, we explore the creation and potential of AI agents that can autonomously design, implement, and manage profitable income streams. By experimenting with different business models and leveraging advanced AI technologies, we aim to find or develop a solution capable of consistently achieving financial goals. Join us on this journey as we push the limits of AI and automation in the pursuit of financial independence. So that's like a really more formal version of what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to accomplish here. And I wanted to lay out for you guys in a visual map exactly what um, I have so far for piecing this puzzle together. So let's take a look here at my screen, and you're going to see I've just got a untitled Google Sheets open right now. But the way I see it, I'm going to need five general components, five general pieces of different technology to put together in order to get to the point where I am truly able to create autonomous, profit generating AI agents. So, the very first thing that I know I'm going to need, and it may be more than five, but we'll get into that later. The first thing that I know I'm going to need absolutely is workflow automation. And there's a few different tools that I've talked about before. This one, N8N, is the one I'm currently learning and investigating and trying to work my way through. It seems like a really powerful, really great tool so far. I plan on doing a lot more tutorials about it, but I would encourage anybody to go check it out. They do give you like a free trial window, which I'm still in that free trial of, I think, 2 weeks, 14 days. So go check that out if you're interested in workflow automation. I got started using an app, a Chrome extension is how they phrase it, but it's called Automa, and you can see I've got it up here in the corner. And we'll go to their homepage. Big shout out to Automa. I really loved Automa. The problem is it has kind of stalled, and I think it's under new ownership now. But the guy who invented this, or the main contributor to it on GitHub, really did a great job for a long, long time of maintaining it. And this is kind of where I formed the foundation of my understanding, my experience with workflow automation software. So this is still a good one to check out, even though, as far as I can tell, it's not being maintained currently. I think they do have plans to continue to maintain it. It was free for a long time. It still is free right now. I don't know if they plan on keeping it free in the future. But this technology, Automa, kind of set the groundwork for me and built the foundation to move on to bigger and more powerful tools such as N8N. I notice a lot of similarities between Automa and N8N, which used to be called something else. I think it was called Integrate or something like that. Make.com, which you have probably all seen, is another workflow automation thing. All these tools can generate or can integrate rather with AI, by the way. Make.com also used to be called something else. I can't remember what it was. There's another one called VoiceFlow, which I have no experience with. I like N8N more than Make.com for two reasons. The interface seems a lot more straightforward, and you seem to have a lot more control with N8N. So here's a workflow that I'm building actually in N8N. I wanted to show you guys. It's pretty cool because you can visually map out the whole thing. You can do that with Make.com as well and Automa. However, the Make.com interface is just, to me, it seems so limited and things are kind of nested and hidden. That's just my impression of it. You might prefer Make.com to N8N, but this is the one that I've picked that I'm going with, and I'm going to be doing a lot of tutorials on that in the future as I kind of go over the learning curve there. So getting back to it, so that's kind of the workflow automation. That's the first piece of the puzzle. I know I'm going to need that. I may need an AI agent framework. So this is for setting up AI agents and controlling how they interact with each other. Now, I've seen things kind of moving away from this, so maybe in the future I may not need it. But a lot of the stuff now that I'm seeing out in the wild is agentive right out of the box. So you don't need to worry about creating a framework like this, and it's a lot faster and built to interact with whatever tools, whatever agent is needed. You could create custom agents. You could create a whole agency using this. And really, this other tool could be put under here as well, this agency swarm, which I will talk a little bit more about later. There used to be a framework called ChatDev, which, by the way, I would like to know what the heck happened to ChatDev. It was like this was like the first real framework, really popular framework that everybody was talking about last year for a little while. And then AutoGen and Crew AI came around and they stole the show, and I've not heard a peep out of anybody in the AI community talking about ChatDev anymore. You might recall these are the guys that had the little video game characters as representing agents. I'm going to look it up. So let's see if we can find that. Probably should have looked this up before I started the video. Oh, I didn't spell it right. That's why. ChatDev. That's what it is. Yeah, they had all these little agents, like a Pokemon game or something like that, Nintendo game, that they would send messages back and forth and communicate with each other. I hear, Matthew Berman did a video on it a while ago, but now I hear nothing about it. Let me know in the comments if you know what the heck happened to ChatDev, if it just was obsolesced by these other technologies or whatever, or if you still use it and you swear by it. Let me know if you think it's good. I'm going to move on now to the third piece of the puzzle, which is the actual AI agents themselves. And this is probably the arena in which most people are more familiar with these AI agents. So for example, ChatGPT, everybody knows, OpenAI, we could also put probably custom GPTs here if you're into that kind of thing. I am not a big fan of custom GPTs, but that could just be because I really don't fully understand how to use them yet or build them. I have a trouble understanding what the purpose of the tools is with those versus like function calling, and it's not really clear to me what function calling actually is. I have a lot more work to do to understand those. but there's a bit of a learning curve with them as well. They could, though, play an integral part in this process in getting me to my goal and what I'm trying to achieve. Obviously, Anthropic, everybody's talking about Claude 3.5 Sonnet now, and I believe they just came out with something. They are rolling out Claude 3.5 Magnum Opus, which is supposed to be like a larger model, more powerful, more parameters. Llama, everyone knows that as well. Llama is the Meta Facebook open source AI, which I think open source is really, really, really important, and there need to be more models that are open sourced. However, it does carry with it, I'm not going to open the hatch to that conversation here, but it does carry with it some dangers and some issues that should probably be addressed. Although I don't think we have the solutions for that. That's a topic for another video. Forget about it. Llama 3 is the one from Meta. Gemini by Google, and also there's one called Gemma, which I believe Gemma is like a much weaker open source version of Gemini. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's so hard to keep up on AI news and AI stuff. It might be now that Gemma is a lot better, but at the time when I was experimenting with it, it was not super great. It was kind of comically bad, actually. I did not mean to scroll that. Now, one thing about this process is I do believe that I'm going to need some type of local agent to control my computer. And there's really two options here that I know of. Well, maybe three, but actually these are kind of the same. I'll talk about Open Interpreter first. So I had a video that I did the other day, which I'll link here, and that Open Interpreter, I can see how it is probably very useful, and I think I'm going to end up using it for things like, go collect all these files. It's just an easy, simple way to talk to your computer or to type to it, which is what I was doing. You type in commands in plain English, and it goes and does those commands on your computer, on your local machine. So I think that's going to be important because I'd like to get it to a point where it's like, okay, I've got all these files in this folder. Like, Open Interpreter, go take those files and upload them, hand them off to, one of the online agents and tell them to rework these photos, or maybe I download a video and make it into shorts automatically, which there's different tools and software for that as well. So Open Interpreter is cool. Go watch my other video on it. It does have some limitations and it does struggle a little bit, much like the self-operating computer, which is a pretty cool concept because it's supposed to be able to control your computer and be able to do things like click and just like Open Interpreter, like move files around, rename, reformat, all sorts of cool things, add to your calendar. And it works by, actually, wait, I'm not going to get into how it works yet because we're going to talk about that in the web browsing agent section. So just be aware that self-operating computer is another option, although I have heard that it still has a tendency to stall, and it could end up costing a lot because I believe it's powered by ChatGPT. You could mitigate those costs, though, by using a local LLM if you have one on your machine, and setting up like, what are those called? Ollama or LM Studio. You can set up a local LLM and set it up as a server to send requests to that. So that might save some costs on that. However, reliability, I don't know. Someone else should let me know how that is doing. I just don't have time to test all the things, unfortunately. Image generation, of course, there's a lot out there. There's different options. DALL-E, which is the OpenAI one, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. Midjourney has its strengths and weaknesses. DALL-E as well. Grok 2, which I did a video on recently, and I will link that here. Now, Grok 2 is great, and it doesn't just do image generation. In fact, Grok 2, I hear, is a lot more useful than its predecessor, and that could even be put up here in the AI agents if we really wanted to. You can probably use it the same way. Now, let's get on to talking about the missing piece of the puzzle. This is the part that I really need to find: the web browsing agent. I've got to get this figured out. This is the integral piece that together would just lace everything together and tie it up nice and neat. And I'm confident that if I had the web browsing agent part figured out, I would probably be able to set up, that would put me on the path to setting up the first agent that would generate profit for me while I sleep. Um, I'm aware of and tracking a technology called Web Voyager. However, I have yet to get it set up or see it successfully run. But I hear that it is a AI agent that is built to browse the web. I don't know the limitations yet. Keep an eye out for a video coming out about that soon because I've got to test that out. Self-operating computer here again. The reason why it's in both columns is because how it works, right, is it takes a screenshot of your screen. It then draws bounding boxes around all of the different elements, what it thinks is clickable elements or things that you can interact with. And then it gives the coordinates or like a number, assigns a number to each of those bounding boxes and tells the computer to move the mouse to the one that it thinks it needs to click on to accomplish its goal. So if you said something like, log me into Instagram, right? And it would go to Instagram.com, it would take a screenshot, it would outline where it thought it needed, well, it would outline first all the clickable elements on the screen and go ahead and click on the one that it thinks it needs to do in order to achieve its goal. So if you said log into Instagram, it would look for a login button. You would click that button, it would bring you to a field, a sign-on form, where it would populate the fields for you and click sign on, right? So ideally, that would work. However, I have 4 monitors, which is a bit excessive, I'll grant you that. But I noticed that the self-operating computer, when I tried it, was not able to distinguish which of the monitors I wanted to screenshot. So it just took a screenshot of all 4 of them. Huge waste of memory, huge waste of compute and resources. So maybe this will work better on a single monitor computer. I'm not willing to unplug my monitors to test this out. I did find that this one, Agency Swarm, which is by this guy who I think pronounces his name Arson, but look him up on YouTube. He's kind of after a very similar goal, I think, to me, and he's a lot further along. So he actually puts out this Agency Swarm system, which is kind of like AutoGen or one of those other AI frameworks that I mentioned before. And you could build like a whole, he claims that you can build like a whole agency, marketing agency or something off of these agents. So I did get this set up and working. It does work. And I was able to successfully test it out. And it's the only one that I've had success with. And I'm running it on all 4 monitors. So obviously something's working for him and what he and his team have built. And they seem to have upgraded. I think what they did was take the same principle as self-operating computer, where it would go in and, like take an article like this and draw bounding boxes around each element that it thought was clickable. And he has upgraded that and put a lot of work, he says, into improving that system. So that one's cool. I'd recommend give it a shot. At least it's free, I think, and it's available on GitHub. So that's pretty cool. You can read about it here. Shout out to Arson, and go follow him if you're not, because he does videos like kind of like mine, but a lot better. So he's on my Dream 100, if you know what that is. So that's just a list of 100 people in my industry that I follow that I'd like to work with someday. And I think I talked about that a little bit in another video, in a previous video. But getting back to it, if Web Voyager doesn't work out for me, I'm not quite sure what to use, because although Agency Swarm worked for me, it did take a long time, and I do feel like there are faster models out there. And maybe there's a custom GPT out there that somebody's already built. If you know of one, let me know, because I'm looking for one desperately. Any solution really that you can think of that you can share with me, let me know in the comments. That would be great. The last piece, I think I've said enough about that. So the last piece of this puzzle is occasionally you need to build custom tools and custom services and stuff on the fly. Now, these AI agents, these LLMs, most of these can handle it and handle it pretty well. Claude 3.5, for example, the Sonnet model, is great at coding. I am having the best time with it coding, and it's doing a fantastic job. This is the only one that I have tested where it built a snake game for me like right off the bat, right? With no issues, worked fine, worked well, good graphics. The others, it takes a little bit of work, I've noticed, or at least a little bit of learning how to create the right prompts, better prompts and stuff like that. Claude got it for me right off the bat in the way that I prompted it, which was just simple plain English. I also made, I'll see if I can bring it up here actually. I showed it off in a different video, an Asteroids game, which you can see here. Now this has been the culmination of like a few different prompts. This was not just one single prompt that I made, but I'm gonna see if I can die here to show you guys. There we go. All right. Enough of that. So that is a cool one. I highly recommend that one. But as I was saying, I digress. You're going to need to AI assisted. That doesn't look right. I think it's just one S right here. Okay. Build custom tools from time to time. And these things, I have not gotten a chance to test Cursor Composer yet, but of course everybody's talking about that one right now. Claude Dev, which I've already beat to death. As far as singing its praises go, there are a few drawbacks. Go watch my video about Claude Dev. I'll link that here. Cursor Composer, I haven't tested it, like I said, but I hear great things about it. When you come to a part which the AI agents cannot handle themselves, which the AI system can't handle, you're going to need to build tools. These are great systems, especially for those of you that don't know how to code. So these systems, they need very little human oversight. And the objective for me is to build a system that incorporates all this technology that works with very little human oversight, or decided human oversight, where I say at this step, seek my approval as a human being. If you're going to generate images, for example, I always want to approve those images before they get introduced to another workflow or before they get released out into the wild, right? So maybe it is the case that you will have very minimal human oversight, but you should be able to control when and where along the process you're going to be able to interject or, check work, approve things, and pass it on before it goes to the next step. I don't think there is any system, And I might be wrong, but my prediction is I don't think there is any system that you can build ever that is just going to make money for you, read your mind, know exactly what you're thinking, and just generate profit for you without any input from you. That it will never exist. And what would be the fun in that anyway? I mean, if you never even had to build it, it wouldn't be much fun. You wouldn't be able to, kind of own the branding or own the design or anything like that. Money would become kind of worthless, I think. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Now you guys know, like, what's the purpose of my channel? What am I after? Um, some of the pieces of the puzzle that I'm trying to piece together. And if you like this idea and you like this concept and you want to follow along with me as I build, I'm not very sharp. I'm not very smart. Okay. And I don't say that to kind of beat myself down, but what I say is, like, if I can do this stuff, then you guys can definitely do it. So I'll try to go slow, and because that's what I need to do personally for myself is I need to reiterate over things a few times before I really soak them into my brain and actually learn these concepts. So follow along with me and do give me a subscribe if you're into this kind of thing. If you're looking for something similar, I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on these different technologies and different pieces of the puzzle, but everything is going to be oriented towards the goal of making profit generating AI frameworks. Okay? Let me know down in the comments some of the answers. If you have some suggestions of different technologies that I didn't include here, I'm happy to investigate those as well. And definitely, if you know of a good web browsing agent that can do things like log into Instagram, I may get in trouble for that because Instagram doesn't like automation, but I do want to experiment with it. So if you know something that's capable of doing things like that, let me know, please. I'll be most grateful. And then other than that, I mean, that's it for this video. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.